are once again. Here, starting our class with a little postural awareness. We're in that mountain pose, making sure our body's nice and aligned. I'm going to reach up with my arms and hands, look up as I reach up. There's my inhale and there's my exhale as I move that breath out into that squat. Inhale and exhale. I'm looking up as I'm reaching up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. And then we stand nice and tall here. I'm just going to start with a little shoulder movement. So I'm just shrugging my shoulders up towards my ears, retracting the shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to reverse that. Always like to keep my palms facing out. And then I'm just going to start releasing my arms nice and gently, letting gravity take my arms back behind me. Getting the blood flowing through the arms. I'm going to start curling up my arms, touching my shoulders. Always breathing. And then I'm going to start reaching back behind my shoulders. 2 and 1. I'm going to keep the hands on the shoulders, out with the elbows. Nice big circles with the elbows. In one direction, lifting those elbows up and around, and I'm going to reverse that. Two and 1. I'm just going to relax my arms at my side here. Keep my feet planted. And I'm going to start just moving from my hips and let my arms just kind of follow along for the ride. These little sharp twists at the hips. And then I'm going to get my spine more involved, pivoting and twisting, turning my head. Not too fast though. Don't get too dizzy with this. We're just kind of warming the hips up and the shoulders. 2 and 1. All right. Let's do a little side-to-side stretch. I'm just going to reach up overhead on one side. Come back down with that arm. Reach to the other side. My other arm is reaching down the side of my leg as I really try to extend that arm up and overhead. 2 and 1. I'm going to come out here with my goalpost arms. Retract the elbows back, retract the shoulder blades back. Come and meet my elbows in line with the shoulders, and then we do a little forearm clap. So mobilizing the T-spine here. 2 and 1. I'm going to come back up here with my goalpost arms, keep my feet planted, and again, moving from my hips. Slowly lowering my arms, relaxing my arms down at my side. And then I'm going to start pivoting, getting my spine more involved, twisting. And then I'll follow that up with these arm sweeps down and through, reaching up side to side, flexing my knees as I sweep down. I can rotate a little bit into that. There's 2, and there's 1. Very good. All right, let's focus on the shoulders again here. I'm going to go extend that arm straight up, overhead, And then I'm going to keep my feet planted. I'm going to rotate at my hip and do a big scoop up. Right? Rotate and scoop. As I scoop up, I'm flexing my knees a little bit and trying to extend that arm up as high as I can. And one, same thing to the other side. Extend that arm up, rotate at the hip, face the palm to the back of the wall, and then scoop up. There's 3, there's 2, and there's 1. All right, let's go back to the right arm. And I'll go into these figure 8s, these nice relaxed figure 8s with that arm. I'm going to open up my stance. I'm going to take that arm back, up, over the top, and down and through. 2 and 1. Same thing with the other side. I just start with these little crisscrosses out in front or figure 8s. I open up my stance. I reach back as far as I can and then come all the way up over the top and sweep that arm down in front. Very good. All right, let's move on down to the hips. So I'm going to start with these little hip circles in one direction and reverse. Remember, always breathing, never holding your breath. And I'm going to go into my little hip shift here, left to right, right to left. And then I'm going to go back to my hip circles, but now I'm going to increase that circle a little bit more. If you want, you can flex your knees through that, extending your hips out, retracting back, and then I reverse. 2 and 1. We'll follow that up with some bends in different planes of motion here. So I start with a forward bend or a hip hinge. I go into the side bend, a back bend, another side bend, and I try to express that hinge a little bit more each time. And then I'll end with a hinge. So I've got that L, upside down L shape going on with my body. I should feel some tension in my hamstrings. I can place my hands above my knees. And I like to just kind of push my knees back, encouraging or flossing those hamstrings. I go back and forth. And I'm going to come out of that with a little heel tailbone kick out. I can retract the shoulder blades back. And I'll follow that up with a slow motion march. Trying to encourage hip flexion here, trying to bring that knee up about hip height. I'll add some rotation into that. So now I'm getting that knee up and out to the side, rotating hand and knee, cross my midline, 2 and 1. We'll go back to those TikToks. Different plane of motion here, sidestepping, TikToking. And then I'll follow that up with a step forward and back. As I step forward, I'm raising those arms up, stepping forward and back with the same leg, and now I'll reverse the step out. There's 2. And 1. Very good. All right, let's move into our slide steps here, challenging that core stability and single leg stance. So I'm going to slide step it here. As I slide step it, I'm squatting through that step. And then I start toeing that inside leg up, challenging that single leg stance. I can bring that knee up, challenging that single leg stance a little more. 2 and 1. All right, let's kind of do the reverse order of that with the big step over. So I'm going to bring that knee up about hip height, swing it out like I'm stepping over a fence or into a bathtub. And then I do the same thing with that trail leg. I want to try to lift that trail leg up as high as that lead leg. Up and over. And the slower you do it, the more you're challenging that single leg stance. 2 and 1. So now I'm straddling whatever I just stepped over. I've got a wide base of support here. I'm going to come down here with my hands on above my knees, and I'm just going to start shifting my hips side to side. And I can turn a foot, rotate a foot away from my hip shift, engaging those adductors. I can try to settle my hips down a little bit lower. Some of you might be able to come to the floor and settle into one side. And then I try to keep my hips low to the ground, settle to the other side. And I'm going to come back up slowly. Still keeping my legs out wide, but this time I'm going to splay the feet out a little bit. Hands on hips, and we go into a little plie squat. And I'm trying to settle my hips a little bit lower each time. 2 and 1. And I'll bring the feet in just a little closer, still outside my hips. I get into that short stop position. I'm going to sink my hips back and down, power up, palms facing up, and then we're going to do that a few more times. There's 3, there's 2, there's 1. I'm going to keep those arms extended. I'm going to rotate, clap, open up wide, come over the top and clap, rotate or pivot to the other side, back and forth. Very good. All right, let's bring the feet together. Hands above the knees. We'll stir those knees around, mobilizing that knee joint. We're also mobilizing the ankle. We'll reverse. And I'm just going to do a little flex and extend here through that knee. Maybe I'll challenge my this very narrow squat here, and then slowly raise yourself back up. And now we'll focus a little more on ankle mobility here, where we rock toe heel. So I'm rocking back to my heel and then onto my toes. I'm really trying not to roll out to my small toes, and then I want to try to hold this heel raise, finding that flexion in my big toe, hold it, hold the balance, and then I'm going to get my arms involved here, heel toe. Three, 2, keep holding to that triple extension of my joints here as I'm in that heel raise. And then I'll relax from that. Give yourselves a little breather while I switch the playlist for our march in place routine here. Here we go. Let's get the legs moving. All right. Get those knees pumping. Let's march it forward. March it back. Here we go, one more time, forward. All right, let's march it out to the side. Little side marches here. Side to side, changing that plane of motion. And we're back to the march. Let's do some kickouts here. Just a one-step kick, bring it back, kick it out. You can do a little cross the midline kick. And I'm back to the march. And we'll do some side-to-side kicks. I'll step out once to the side, kick it out. Don't kick your partner or your TV. Two, and one. All right, here we go. I'm going to march it out wide. Bring it back in. All right, let's do that out, out, in step here. I go out, out, in. I can sink those hips down as I step it out, and then I'm going to reverse the step out. There's two, and one.